Hello, this is Yaakov Kronenberg from Jerusalem, and tonight another class in the series of classes on Aquarius ascendant and Saturn, the ruling planet, in the different signs. Tonight we'll be doing Saturn in Taurus. Okay, Taurus is the sign of money, right? The second house of finances. And so a person who's got Saturn there, they worry about money, right? Saturn is worry and Taurus is money. The worrying about money. As a general rule, wherever Saturn is, that house you can. That's the sign that Saturn is in, is what the person worries about. So when you have Saturn in Taurus, there's going to be worries about money, especially when it's your ruling planet, and there's going to be a desire to make big money. When you have that Saturn there in Taurus. Now naturally with an Aquarius ascendant, Taurus and Saturn and Taurus should fall in the fourth house. The fourth house rules family life, the end of life, it rules the home, and so a person has Saturn there, it can be sort of difficult when you have your ruling planet in the fourth house. And Saturn is the fourth house is not the best place for Saturn, because if you look, the natural ruler of Saturn in Adam Rishon's chart is Cancer, and so the ideal home should be it should be more lunar. That Saturn is in detriment in Cancer, so it's it's too serious for the home life. It makes the home life too heavy. And it makes the person, it takes away happiness. Saturn in the fourth robs the person of happiness in life. A person who got Saturn in the fourth, they really have to work to cultivate the characteristic of being joyful and being happy, because Saturn in the fourth can make a person heavy. Make a person heavy, even though they have everything in the world. They have, they have money, relationships, power, you name it, they got it, but they're just not happy. It's so if you have Saturn in the fourth, it's always good to cultivate happiness, to work on it. Now again, there's different degrees of Saturn, right? Saturn, you have to look at it again. Saturn taken together with the whole chart and the aspects made to Saturn and the sign that Saturn's in, and all of these things, there's different degrees of unhappiness and there's different degrees of happiness. And so again, when you have the Aquarius ascendant, Saturn in the fourth, Saturn's going to be square to the ascendant, right? Because the Aquarian doesn't like to work. You have to understand, the Aquarian, of all the signs, that's the sign that probably least likes to work. How do we know that? Because what's the 12th sign from Aquarius? Capricorn. So the secret enemy of Aquarius is work. It doesn't like to do work. It doesn't like to get up and go to his job in the morning. The Aquarian is the 11th house. Wants to be with his friends or her friends, and they want to be parts of groups, but they don't really want to work, And so when the Saturn wants to make money, the Saturn in Taurus wants to make money, and it's going to fight against the Aquarian desire for freedom. Now tonight I want to do a chart, a very, very interesting chart. We can spend a lot of time on this chart, but we only have 5 minutes, and so we're going to talk about mainly the ascendant and the ruling planet. This is a horoscope of a man named Jimmy Hoffa. I don't know how many people remember him or know him. If you didn't come from America, you'll never remember him. And if you come from America, you might not remember. You might not have been in his time. But anyway, I vaguely remember him. He was a very famous. He was the head of a union, the largest union in America, and he was a very powerful man. Had a tremendous. He collected a tremendous amount of power by being head of the Teamster Union, which is, the truck drivers and all the people involved with stuff like that, transportation. He was the head of that in America, and you see his chart, tremendously powerful chart, Aquarius rising. You see, he loved, again, the idea of groups. He didn't really have a job. He was the head of a group. He was the head of a union. He basically united all the transportation workers in America, made them into a union, and then through strikes and different things like that, he gained for them tremendous influence and power. Unfortunately, he did a lot of things illegally, and he ended up in jail for a fair amount of time, and in the end of his life he disappeared. Nobody knows what happened to him. He looks like maybe the mob captured him and killed him for some reason. Nobody knows. He had a meeting, he disappeared, and that was it. And so that you can already look at the Saturn in the 4th, right, the end of life. But we'll come back to that in a second. When you look at his chart, tremendously powerful. He's got the ruler of his chart, Saturn. Actually, in his chart it falls in the 3rd house, right, which indicates, again, transportation. So he wasn't a daredevil driver or things like that, but he was because he has such a powerful chart, he was the head of a whole group of people that engaged in that. And he has the Saturn exactly squared to the ascendant, and he has also exactly squared to Mercury and almost exactly squared to his Sun. So tremendously powerful Saturnian energy. And the Saturn is also exactly conjunct to his Moon. So the man was iron, and the man was like tremendously powerful man, tremendously strong chart. Unfortunately, he wasn't a nice guy, right? If you have the Saturn exactly conjunct to the Moon, you're not going to be Mr. Nice Guy. He was tough. He was tremendously tough, and so he's got 4 planets. Major planets making exact aspect with the ascendant. The Sun for power, Mercury for knowledge, communication ability, Saturn for Saturn and the Moon there for strength. A very strong man. And so a very, very powerful chart. But unfortunately, you see also he's got 3 planets working for the 12th house and 1 planet for the 6th. So he ended up in jail. He's got 4 planets or 3 planets in the house of imprisonment. Not nice. Right? And especially his ruler of his 10th house is in the house of imprisonment. Right? He's got Sagittarius on the 10th house cusp. And it's in the 12th house. It's in the 12th sign. So it's working towards the 12th house. And so, but he was a very, very powerful man. He's not a very likable man, I'm sure, with that Saturn Moon there. And you see his end was not so good. Right? That Saturn. I don't think everybody who's got Saturn in the 4th house can end up like this. This man had his Saturn exactly conjunct the Moon. His instincts must have suffered terribly in his lifetime. He must have had a very difficult childhood and a very difficult upbringing. And the Saturn is squared to everything exactly. He must have felt under tremendous pressure all the time, lack of money, lack of sustenance, and he went over the edge to provide for himself and his family or whatever, and it was too much. And I thank everybody for listening.